If you're going to come here, if you're going to live here, then one thing has to be understood, and that is the priority when you look at the different people should be the native population first. Now, any country that you look at, any leader that you look at, America is a very big example of this. They talk about putting their people first. And when you allow individuals to come into this country, let's not worry about the bad things for the moment. Let's worry about the logical things. You need money, you need a place to live, you need an intention to work and contribute, and you need to at least show that you're going to live some kind of productive, peaceful, law-abiding life, perhaps start a family and all the rest of it. These are normal things that you would expect. And let's say I was going to go and emigrate to Australia, pick a name out of a hat. Not something I'd be prepared to do for reasons which I'm sure are obvious. But if I went there, then I would understand that I would need to be financially independent rather. I had a job to go to. I could afford to feed and clothe myself. I could afford to look after my family. And one of the most important things of all, I would integrate and I would obey the laws where I'm going. These are just logical. Now, what we have in a position in this country, we have a position where loads and loads and loads and loads of people are coming in here. And we've lost control of the situation because a lot of the time we don't know much about their background when they come in, or those that we do, we tend to let them in anyway where things aren't exactly happening. And, we get overwhelmed. Bad things happen. Those bad things aren't dealt with as efficiently as they should be. And it just compounds. And then you get scenes like we've seen in Manchester where people have had enough of it. They come out on the streets and say, well, blah, 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 blah. What you need to sort it out is a hardline approach. Nobody has given that hardline approach in government. They just kick the can down the road. And this is where Rupert Lowe comes in. Rupert Lowe is giving it that hardline approach. Now, if I pull this up here, this is a tweet connected to, it's actually Connor Tomlinson that's put this out as a tweet connected to his interview he did with David Starkey. Now, I get very concerned with this situation because David Starkey, if you listen to him, he actually has a lot of his thoughts and his feelings buried in the factor of being a unionist and saying things like British Constitution and, trying to say, well, the state's all too powerful. You're never going to get anywhere, pal. And, when you are at the behest of this advice, you do wonder where this is going. But, that's another conversation for another time. So as Rupert Lowe explains, Restore Britain's immigration policy is illegal immigrants detained and deported, foreign criminals detained and deported, gang collaborators deported, benefits for foreigners withdrawn, translation services stopped, the burqa, niqab, cousin marriage, sharia courts and non-stun slaughter banned. Don't like it, go live somewhere else. This is in writing, clear as day. Anyone telling you otherwise is either ignorant or lying. So let's have a listen to this.
I have said, and I hold to this, first of all, I have said those people who arrive here legally, if the ECHR doesn't allow us to detain and deport them, I would send them to a Scottish island, give them a bowl of porridge and put them in a tent till they decided to go home and let the midges do the rest. I did say that, and I mean it. However, I would detain and I would deport. Anyone arriving illegally, detain and deport. Anyone living here illegally, detain and deport. Anyone in our any criminals in our prisons who are foreign nationals, deport. And I said, and this was the issue between us, he tried to edit my speech in Northwest Essex, in Kemmy's constituency, in it would have been end of January 25. People can watch it. I got a standing ovation at the end of it. And he got a little 24-year-old to tell me he didn't want me to use the expression mass when I was talking about deportation. He tried to take that word out, which I did agree to do, although I now hear Zia Youssef talking about mass deportations. And then the second thing he asked me to do was to take out the clause where I said families of those people where a rapist is raping white underage English working class girls who've been groomed, if that family knew that that person was perpetrating that evil on those vulnerable young girls, if they were foreign nationals or dual nationals, I would deport them. I have never said whole communities of British passport holders should be deported. What I have said is once we've done those things I've just outlined, we do need to start looking at those people who are on welfare, who've come here, who aren't contributing to our society, who don't speak English, and who effectively are going to be a burden to the taxpayer for the foreseeable future. And we should encourage them to leave. And that is what is happening at the moment in Sweden, David.
And indeed in Denmark.
In Denmark, in Sweden, in any country with a modicum of common sense or a modicum of interest in looking after the honest, decent, tax-paying citizens of those countries who are law-abiding and who care about their country. So let me be abundantly clear. You know me, I am not somebody who makes rash comments. And Nigel took not only my career out of context, he said I sued him, I never sued him. And at the end of the day, he is completely wrong in what he says about what my comments on deportation. So let's just get that absolutely clear.
Right.
And
I think
look, the state's going to come for me. They don't like what I'm saying, but I am intent on giving the British people an option to vote for something new. I have said
I am intent on giving the British people the option to vote for something new. And you can hear the, well, very, very hardline approach taken by Rupert there. At the end of the day, other world leaders have said in other countries along the lines of, if you're going to misbehave, you're out on your ear. It's as simple as that. And if you come to this country and you commit a crime and you end up in a prison, then that prison space should be freed up. You should be removed, and you should be removed from the country. Anybody that was complicit in what you did, in that they knew about it and said nothing, should be removed from the country. Anybody that comes here that, you know, has no intention of contributing, integrating, should be removed from the country. It's very, very simple. And Restore have a 113-page document which they've put together, and you can go on their website and find it, and it will actually explain to you in great detail how they will hope to achieve these things. And the other thing as well, what Rupert has said, is with regard to the English language. You know, at the end of the day, we speak English here, not British. And it's to do with the NHS primarily. We will scrap this nonsense in the NHS. If you live in England, you speak English. You know, and there's a picture there where they have a selection of different languages to choose from. There are various comments on that post to varying degrees, either in agreement with him or not, but it's a very emotive subject. But I had some recent experience where I had to be involved with the NHS towards the end of last year. I lost somebody very close to me, and I've very much noticed in the hospital wards that there wasn't really many English people there working as staff. They were all from everywhere else, and in some cases the level of language was pretty questionable. But I've seen other comments after that saying, oh, I went to hospital and my experience was lovely, they were all fine. So I guess it depends what part of the country you actually have your experience in, but it does need to be an overall standard. You either toe the line or you piss off, basically. But it sets a very big alarm bell as well, doesn't it? If there's no native people who have done nursing degrees, doctorates, or anything else of that nature, and you have to bring in all of these people from other places, why is that? What's gone wrong with that? How do we fix it? It's just symptom after symptom after symptom, problem after problem after problem. But there you go. That's pretty much what Rupert's plan is for anybody that doesn't toe the line. A very comprehensive, very clear list there. Behave or disappear. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share my stuff. I'll talk to you soon. Toodaloo.